Hello friends, welcome to my channel CMS Biology. I am Chinmay Mahapatra, and before starting this very important session on ecology, let me thank you all for your likes, shares and comments. They help me to progress and they encourage me to make more videos for you. Keep liking and sharing my video sessions, my dear friends. So today let's start the very important chapter from class 12, that is ecology. So before starting this, what is ecology? Let us know first. So ecology, my dear friends, is the study of the environment that surrounds us, and it is the study of the ecosystem. So different ecosystems comes under the ecology, and the whole biosphere. Biosphere means the total living organism. The whole living organisms present on the surface of earth makes the biosphere, and this biosphere is spread around the earth's surface in different ecosystem. So the different ecosystems can be divided into basically two different categories. What are they? The terrestrial ecosystem and the aquatic ecosystem. Yes, my dear friends, terrestrial and aquatic ecosystem. In terrestrial ecosystem, we know the ecosystem is on the surface of the earth, that is land. In aquatic ecosystem, it is water, right? So, for example, we will take some terrestrial ecosystems. What are the terrestrial ecosystem? The grassland ecosystem, yes, the desert ecosystem, and the forest ecosystem are the basic examples of these terrestrial ecosystem. Likewise, in case of aquatic ecosystem, we have some examples like the pond ecosystem, ocean ecosystem, river, wetland, and my dear friends, the estuaries. So these are the different examples of the aquatic ecosystem, and these are the examples of the terrestrial ecosystem: grassland, desert, forest. Here in aquatic, pond, ocean, river, wetland and estuary. So away from this, apart from this, these are the natural ecosystems. So there are some artificial ecosystems also. Artificial ecosystem that are prepared by human beings, like the crop field. The crop field is the example of artificial ecosystem. It is terrestrial ecosystem, and the example of aquatic artificial ecosystem is the aquarium. Okay, so these two are the examples of the artificial ecosystem, my dear friends, and here the natural ecosystem, which is divided into terrestrial and aquatic ecosystem with some examples. Okay, so now, my dear friends, let's move on to the structure and function of the ecosystem. Okay, so let's move on. These are all about the terrestrial and aquatic ecosystem, different types of ecosystem, natural and artificial ecosystem. Now, we will know that what is ecosystem and what are its structure and functions. Okay, so the structure of functions. In this case, first, let us know in ecosystem, it is the interaction, it is the result of the interaction between the biotic and abiotic components. Yes, my dear friends, the biotic and abiotic. Biotic means what? The living components, and the abiotic means, yes, the non-living components, right? So the living and non-living components interact with each other and form the ecosystem. So ecosystem, the structure of the ecosystem is depend on what are the different biotic and abiotic components present in that particular area, right? So it is the ecosystem. So what are the different components of the ecosystem? It is also very important. Components. What are the components of the ecosystem? So the number one, the first one is productivity. Yes, productivity. The second one is decomposition. Yes, decomposition. Third one is energy flow, and fourth one is nutrient cycle. So we will discuss all the different components of the ecosystem one by one, starting from the productivity. Okay, so let's discuss in detail about the different components of the ecosystem. Before that, let me discuss the pond ecosystem so that you can easily know the different important components and how they work. Okay, so remember the components: productivity, decomposition, energy flow, and nutrient cycle. We will discuss all of them one by one, right? Okay. So we know that the ecosystem is the interaction of the biotic and abiotic component, right? So now let's take the example of the pond ecosystem. Which one? Pond. Okay. So pond ecosystem. It is an aquatic ecosystem. Example of aquatic ecosystem here. There are some autotrophs who produce their food. They prepare their food by themselves. These are the having the green pigments, or they are photosynthetic. Next one is consumers. Consumers are those who depends on the autotrophs for their survival. And finally, the decomposers. They break down the complex organic substances and produce the nutrients. So decomposers, consumers, autotrophs. These are the three important parts of any ecosystem. But here in case of pond ecosystem, what are the autotrophs? Normally the phytoplankton, and some algae are also present as the autotrophs in pond. They may be submerged or floating. Okay, so these are the autotrophs, phytoplanktons and algae. Likewise, the consumers are zooplanktons. The zooplanktons are the example of the consumers, and they may be free swimming or bottom dwelling. Yes, may be free swimming or bottom dwelling. They may live at the bottom of the pond, at the base of the pond, or they may be free swimming, may move from one part to another. Last one, that is the consumers, and they are fungi, bacteria, and also some flagellates. Flagellates means the organisms, microorganisms particularly, having flagella. Okay, so they can use the flagella for their locomotion. We know that bacteria, fungi, they are the decomposers. So in a pond ecosystem, these are the three important parts: autotrophs, consumers, and decomposers. Autotrophs are the phytoplanktons and algae. The consumers are the zooplanktons, and the decomposers are fungi, bacteria, and some flagellates. So this is the basic structure of any ecosystem. But in this case, as we are discussing about the pond ecosystem, we are taking example of phytoplankton, zooplankton, fungi, and bacteria. But these things are common. Autotrophs, consumers, and decomposers are present in every ecosystem. Okay, autotrophs always produce their food by themselves. Consumers use the food prepared by the autotrophs. They consume the autotrophs, okay, and get energy from them. The consumers and autotrophs, after their death, they are decomposed with the help of the decomposers, right? So let's move on. This is all about the pond ecosystem, my dear friends. So let's see how this system perform all the functions. So let's see how ecosystem performs its function, and all the components of the ecosystem works as a unit. Okay, so the conversion of what? Inorganic to organic. Yes, conversion of inorganic to organic. Who makes it? Yes, with the help of solar radiation or solar energy or sunlight, we can say. The inorganic components received by the plant are converted into organic with the help of sunlight in the process of photosynthesis. Yes, photosynthesis, my dear friends. So inorganic components are converted into organic. That means the minerals, nutrients collected by the root of the plant from the soil, carbon dioxide, sunlight and water all together helps in the process of formation of organic compound, the food material in the plants through the process of photosynthesis with the help of the solar radiation. Okay, so after this, the inorganic converted into organic in autotrophs. This happens in the autotrophs. Right, in case of the autotrophs, all this process takes place, and these autotrophs are consumed by the consumers. So here, who are the consumers? Here the heterotrophs. Heterotrophs are the consumer. The heterotrophs may be carnivore or herbivore. When they directly consume the autotrophs, they are called herbivores, and the herbivores are consumed by the carnivores. So these herbivores and carnivores comes under heterotrophs, and the autotrophs are the green plants who can synthesize their own organic food by utilization of inorganic substances from the soil and atmosphere with the help of the solar radiation. Okay, so this is all that happens. So another important thing is the autotrophs get maximum energy. Yes, autotrophs has maximum energy because they utilizes the solar energy. They utilizes the solar energy to produce their own food. So here the sun directly supplies the power to the autotrophs, and from the autotrophs are consumed by the herbivores. That is why the energy, when travels from autotrophs to heterotrophs or herbivores, the level of energy comes down. Likewise, the energy again reduced when it comes to carnivore because of radiation as heat. Radiation to the environment, to the atmosphere as heat. Because of that radiation, the autotrophs get maximum energy, but the herbivores who consume the autotrophs and get energy have less energy, and carnivores again gets less energy. So the energy is released as heat. That is why energy loss occurs when we travel from one trophic level to another trophic level. So let's discuss what is trophic level and how the productivity takes place. So first, let's move on to productivity. Yes, as we know that the components, there are different components of the ecosystem. What are they? Productivity, then decompositions, energy flow and nutrient cycle. So we will start from the productivity. We have a basic idea now about the ecosystem, different types of ecosystem, what are the process of formation of food in plant through photosynthesis, and how energy decreases from herbivores to carnivore, from autotroph to herbivore. Okay, so now discuss about the productivity. Productivity means, first we need to understand. So what is primary productivity? Primary productivity. Okay, so productivity means the amount of energy produced by a specific biomass of plant. Okay, so primary productivity, let's see in detail about this. Amount of biomass, yes, amount of biomass. Okay, so the amount of biomass that is produced per unit area. So this biomass is organic components. Okay, organic components produced per unit area, that is called, yes, amount of biomass produced per unit area is called primary productivity, my dear friends, and this occurs in a specific time period by plants, in a specific time in plants through what? Photosynthesis. Through photosynthesis. Yes, my dear friends, when we will measure the amount of biomass or organic compounds that is produced by utilization of inorganic components, as we have discussed previously. So plants produce organic components by utilization of inorganic components, and the amount or the biomass produced per unit area in a specific time in plant through photosynthesis is known as the primary productivity, my dear friends. So the rate of biomass production is called productivity. What is productivity? A rate of biomass production. Rate of biomass production. Okay, so the rate of biomass production in what is the speed of production of the energy? Yes, what is the speed of the production of the organic components? That is important. So what is the rate? Means in unit area per unit time, what is the biomass of production, or what is the biomass or of the organic components produced, right? So here the unit is, what is the unit of this productivity? Okay, so the unit of this productivity is kilocalorie per meter square per year. Kilocalorie per meter square per year. Okay, so we can write it as like this: kilocalorie meter minus 2 y minus 1 to the power. Okay, so this means kilocalorie per meter square per year. That means kilocalorie is the amount of energy, the energy is released in, this is the unit of the energy, and this is the unit of meter square, is the unit of the area, and year is the unit of time period. So this is the unit of productivity, my dear friends. So let's know what is GPP, gross primary productivity. Okay, so there are two different types of productivity. One is net primary productivity, another is gross primary productivity. So the gross primary productivity, it is also in short known as GPP, and this gross primary productivity is the rate of production of organic matter during photosynthesis. A rate of production of organic matter during photosynthesis. Then what is net primary productivity? We know that some amount of energy loss occurs due to radiation as heat. So here the net primary productivity is the amount of production or amount of organic matter produced after deducting the loss by respiration. Okay, so here the loss is not by radiation of heat, because radiation of heat occurs when food travels from one trophic level to another. Energy travels from one trophic level to another trophic level. There the loss is due to loss as heat, radiation of heat to the atmosphere or environment. But here R is there, which is reduction of GPP. The gross primary productivity reduces in some amount due to utilization by plants for respiration. For the purpose of respiration, plant utilizes some amount of energy. So net primary productivity equal to gross primary productivity minus R. Here R is the loss of energy for respiration of the plant. Okay, so loss by respiration in case of plants. So NPP is the net primary productivity, which is less than the GPP, because the loss occurs due to respiration in plants. So annual primary productivity of whole biosphere is 170 billion ton. 170 billion ton is the annual, yes, per year. 170 billion tons is the annual primary productivity of the whole biosphere. 170 billion tons, my dear friends. But out of this 170, only 55 billion tons are produced from ocean. Although ocean occupies more than 70% of the surface of earth, but the primary productivity, its contribution is only 55 billion tons. Okay, rest 115 billion tons are from the land. Okay, so 115 billion ton, 115 billion ton from land, 55 billion tons from ocean or aquatic medium. So total 170 billion ton from the whole biosphere per year. Clear? So this is the productivity, this is the result of photosynthesis in the biosphere. Okay, so this is all about the productivity. Now we will discuss about decomposition. So now let's discuss about decomposition. What are the role of the decomposers in the ecosystem and how they decompose the dead and decaying materials. Okay, so my dear friends, in decomposition, the important role is of decomposers. What they do? They break down the complex substances into simple form. So the complex substances are the organic substances, and they break down these organic substances into simpler inorganic forms, my dear friends. So here the detritus break down into simpler inorganic substances. Inorganic, yes my dear friends, inorganic substances. So these detritus are organic. The organic dead and decaying matter, means detritus, are converted into inorganic substances. Yes, inorganic, my dear friends, inorganic substances with the help of the decomposers. Yes, here the important role is played by the decomposers, right? Or they are called detrivores. Yes, detrivores. These detrivores, yes, these detrivores, we can give example of the earthworm. Earthworm is a very good example of the detrivores. These are also called the decomposers. They decompose the detritus or the organic complex organic materials into inorganic simple substances, and these inorganic substances can be carbon dioxide, water or any simpler nutrients. Yes, carbon dioxide, water or any simple nutrients. So these are the result of decomposition by the help of the decomposers or detrivores to convert the dead and decaying detritus into inorganic substances like the carbon dioxide, water and simple nutrients. So this process occurs with four important phases. Let's see what are the different, some important stages are there through which the decomposition takes place. Number one, fragmentation. Yes, fragmentation means breakdown of complex large organic matter into small simple inorganic substances, that is fragmentation. Next one is catabolism. Catabolism means it is also the same, the different bacteria secrete some enzymes that break the complex substances into simpler one. The process is catabolism. Leaching means addition of nutrients which are in the soluble form with water. It is addition of water having different nutrients. Leaching. Okay. Next one is humification. This one is very important. Humification. And we can also say another point, that is nutrification. Nutrification. So nutrification is addition of nutrients and humification is addition of humus. So what is humus? Humus are the very fertile, they are dark substances from the simplified organic substances. These organic substances become simplified to form the humus, my dear friends, and it is accumulation of dark amorphous substances. Humification is the accumulation of dark amorphous substances. So these are the various steps by which the decomposition occurs with the help of the decomposers to convert the organic complex substances, that is detritus, with the help of the detrivores like earthworm and different bacteria to form the inorganic substances like carbon dioxide, water and simpler nutrients. So this is the whole process of decomposition. So in this class we have a complete idea about the ecosystem, different components of ecosystem, how the different components of the ecosystem work as a unit to perform a specific function, and we have also get a complete idea about the decomposition and productivity in the ecosystem in our biosphere. In the next class, my dear friends, we will discuss about the food chain, food web, ecological succession and all these things of this chapter. So please stay tuned. If you like this video, hit the like button because it will encourage me to produce more videos for you. Please subscribe to my channel, CMS Biology. Thank you very much.